Hi, welcome to part 3 of how to make it through a long phrase of a song without running out of breath. I'm Sarah Templeton. I teach singing, speech, and the Feldenkrais Method. In the last 2 videos, we talked about how to more easily get through a long phrase through improving your posture, your breathing, and your vocal technique. In this video, I'll talk about how to use acting technique and the actor's imagination. I believe that when you mean what you say as a singing actor, you can solve so many vocal technical issues. If you believe what the character wants and needs in that moment, and that singing that high note or finishing that sentence is the only way the character is going to get what they want or need, quite often, technical issues can melt away. I'll give you an example. In Verdi's opera, Otello, Desdemona has a moment with her maid, Emilia. Desdemona knows she's about to be killed by her husband, and she'll never see her maid and friend again. Verdi gives the soprano a high A sharp virtually out of nowhere on the word ah. I believe if the soprano uses her imagination here and believes that she must say goodbye to Emilia in that moment, that it is her last chance to do so, then it just helps so much. There's a link below of Renata Tebaldi doing that brilliantly. So that's an example of the actor's imagination helping with a high note. What about the imagination helping you get through a long phrase? Well, when you think about it, we rarely run out of breath when speaking in real life. We have something to say and we want the person we're talking to get it, to understand us. So we just say the sentence and rarely do we run out of breath halfway through. And obviously in a song, we have to use our imagination because we're not really the character we're playing, we're not in his or her situation, and the stakes aren't high for us the way they are for the character in that moment. So how can you use your imagination to help you with your own songs? How can you help yourself believe the character's situation? Here's what I suggest. Find a pen and paper, sit down, and write. First of all, what does the text of the song, or the whole show, if it's a musical or opera or movie, tell you about the character? Write all of the facts you know about him or her. Then write, what is the situation the character is in? What is the character trying to accomplish before this song is over? This is so important. Be very specific here. Let's use the example of Jacques Brel's song Ne me quitte pas. I'll link it below. Here, you could say he's stopping the love of his life from walking out the door with a suitcase in her hand. What is his goal? To stop her from walking out the door. What will happen exactly if he accomplishes this goal? What good things will happen? Let's be specific. She'll come back in and throw her arms around him and stay forever. What will happen if he doesn't accomplish it? Well, she'll leave, and he'll be alone forever because he'll never be able to find anyone like her, and he'll die homeless and penniless and no one will ever love him. So you can ask yourself about your songs. What are the stakes? Are the stakes high enough to inspire you? And if the stakes aren't high enough to inspire you, make something up. This is especially true if the song is not part of a show, so you don't have the details of a given plot to help you. So just make something up. Also, you can write about your imaginary scene partner. So sometimes you really will have a scene partner, and you should know who they are, and sometimes you won't, so you need an imaginary one. Who is he? Where is he? What does he mean to you? What is he doing from moment to moment as you sing? Have a look at the Jacques Brel song I've linked below. It may inspire you. I think he's one of the masters of reacting from moment to unanticipated moment to whatever his imaginary scene partner is doing. It's incredible. All right, so after you've written all of that detail and you know who the character is and what he or she is trying to accomplish, you need to use your imagination to believe the character on some level. This may come very naturally to you, and it may not come easily to you. If it doesn't, or even if you just want to keep your imagination active and in shape, to flex those muscles on a regular basis, here's what I'd suggest. And I warn you, you may not want to hear this. It's a bit of tough love. The best way to develop your imagination as an actor, and that includes singing actors like us, is to spend more time away from screens. So put away the phone more often, close the laptop, and yes, I do realize the irony of my saying that as you're watching my YouTube video. But seriously, there's very little that is creative about watching Netflix or scrolling through TikTok. I'm not saying they're a complete waste of time, and you should never do those things, but you probably know if what I'm saying is true for you, if you would benefit from giving up some screen time and prioritizing something else. I would invite you to give yourself time to do absolutely nothing every day. Lie on your bed or lie on the grass in the shade of a tree or on your living room floor and do nothing. Just daydream. Let your imagination go wild. Walk in the woods or walk in the park. As I often say to my kids, it's okay to be bored. Be bored every single day. All right, and then the next thing you can do to develop your imagination is to read plays. Read plays out loud, by yourself, or even better, with friends. Now, next suggestion, meditate. Meditate to develop the habit of being able to focus on anything, but including your imaginary scene partner. If you're not good at meditating, you can start with my program if you like. It's called movement meditation. And I've had quite a few people tell me they can focus on it when they can't focus on other kinds of meditation. This is possibly because it uses slow, gentle movements of the body to focus on, instead of thoughts. I'll link it below. But do some form of meditation daily, if not mine. You can count your breaths on each exhale from 1 to 10 times in a row. Any kind of meditation is good. Okay, that's my spiel about developing your imagination. A little tough love from me to you. So now, switching gears. In these 3 videos, we've covered 4 aspects of getting through a long phrase in one breath. Posture, breathing, vocal technique, and using your imagination. And at this point, I'd like to add one other important thought that may help you. Sometimes you're just going to have to breathe halfway through a phrase. You may not like it, you may really wish you could sing the phrase in one breath, but I'm here to tell you, 99% of the time, in my opinion, the audience doesn't care. Not a bit. What they do care about is, first, do they believe you? Do they believe the words coming out of your mouth? And secondly, are they having an emotional experience through listening to you that allows them to live life more fully than life itself allows? That's it. To believe you and to have an emotional experience. And if you breathe like you mean it in character, they will believe you. If you breathe as if the character must breathe in that moment to get their point across, the audience will believe you, and they'll be moved by you. Oh, and here's another tip. Actually, if you can master this one, it might be a real game changer for you. Okay. Breathe when you decide to, but keep the thought going as you breathe. I work with this technique all the time with my private students in lessons, and it's really cool to see them do it. As long as you keep the thought going through the breath, the audience will stay with you and not care that you're breathing. They'll just be following along with the story. So, keeping the thought going in your mind is partly just tied to what I talked about a moment ago. It's your ability to imagine and believe the situation of the character. But there's a physical trick you can do too to help yourself, to keep the thought going. And this is where many of the concepts of this whole video series can sort of come together. Posture, breathing, movement, and imagination. So, inhale with the thought and begin to move slowly, incredibly slowly, as you sing the first part of the phrase. Then when you need to breathe, even if it's not exactly where you'd want to, ideally keep the thought going and keep the incredibly slow movement going. So this movement can sort of be up and forward, but it could also be from one side to another. And you're moving with your whole self. Every part of you is in agreement with this movement. So I'm going to inhale with the thought. I'm going to start the phrase. When I run out of breath, I'm going to breathe in but keep the thought going and keep the slow movement going. And then I finish the phrase. And not a single person in the audience cares that I just breathed. You can apply these techniques to any song you're working on. And I'd be excited to hear in the comments below what your experience is of that. So that's it. Thank you for watching this 3-part series about getting through a long phrase of a song without running out of breath. We've talked about 4 aspects: self-use, breathing, consonants, and acting. I really hope it was helpful to you. Please comment below if you've tried some or all of the techniques we've covered and how they've helped you. You can contact me through either of my websites if you're curious about refining your singing further. And see the links below for my video courses, my group classes, and for more information about individual lessons. I truly appreciate your time and attention, and I hope you've benefited from watching and participating. Take care.